Chong here. Welcome to another week of our Facebook Live teaching, where today we are going to dive into a topic about what food to eat while you are trying to conceive. Now, let me just check that I am online. Yes, I'm live now, and welcome. So while we are waiting for more people to join in, I wanted to, just have a shout out here to all of you here who have downloaded our 5 days fertility diet challenge. It's just so fascinating. We now have about more than 500 women around the world who have downloaded our fertility diet challenge. Now, if you haven't heard about our 5-day diet fertility challenge, please go to my website now, catchingchong.com.au/fertility diet challenge. That is where you can find out all of the fertility diet challenge information. It's a 5 days diet challenge where you will receive a full meal plan, grocery shopping list, and also the step-by-step recipe for you. What makes it better? I will be there during the live challenge week. I will be there with you every day through email to support you to get through the challenge week. So if you haven't seen it, and if you're someone who are trying to conceive and want to improve your diet better, I would strongly recommend you go to my website now at catchingchong.com.au/fertility diet challenge to join the challenge now. And challenge will start every Monday, so you still have plenty of time to get ready and get started on the coming Monday. Now, for today, we are going to spend some time to learn what food you should be focusing on when you are trying to conceive. Now, in the last few weeks, I have talked to many of you online through DM, through email. I have received a lot of questions from all of you here. They all are great questions. I just love it. I just love you asking me questions, and we are hoping to develop more and more useful resources and content, including our Facebook Live weekly teaching here, to really give you the starter to and the starter kits to get you started and to get the conversations going. Now, just in case you haven't seen our last week episode, we were talking about what are the top 3 foods you should avoid while trying to conceive. So if you haven't watched that, make sure you tune in the replay at the end of today's live show on our Facebook page. So, now, while we're waiting for more people to join in, I want to remind you again, why is it so important to focus on your nutrition while you're preparing for your pregnancy? The reason why here is there is a lot of study which is known as the first 1,000 day, right? There's a lot of nutrition research sharing with us that nutrition is such a key component to help you to grow a healthy baby. Having the right nutrition can also help you to minimize a lot of complications during pregnancy, as well as for your baby as well. So definitely we want to spend a lot more focus on to getting your diet right, not just during pregnancy, but also the time period when you are trying to fall pregnant. And of course, we also want to improve your diet quality, your lifestyle, to maximize the chance of you conceiving. Especially, I know that many of you here, our audience, also having trouble to conceive. So definitely, what you want to do, the first step is you want to relook at your diet quality now and try to see what are the food you should eliminate. And secondly, it's very important we don't just take the food out. We want to actually reintroduce food that is nourished for your body, that is nourished for your eggs quality, your eggs health, to help you to maximize the chances of conceiving. And many of you actually also ask me, when is the best time to get started? Now, ideally, a month ahead of conceiving will be great, but really ideally it's probably about at least 1 month to between 3 months will be really ideal to work on your diet. Okay, so let's dive into today's topics, what you should eat while you're trying to conceive. Now, I'm going to break down into 3 simple steps for you, and of course this is a huge topic as well. It's impossible to cover everything here during a live show, but I want to give you 3 simple steps that you can take home today and implement it right away. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to talk about is carbohydrate. And this is also a probably the most commonly asked question when I work with my clients one-on-one in my practice. So we're going to talk about carbs. Now, there are 3 things that I always share with my clients is, first thing, when you look at the carbohydrate, you want to have a look at the type. I don't think you can see it very clearly here. I'll write it neatly. So the type of carbohydrate you are having. And number 2 is the portion. And lastly is the timing. Okay, now why is carbohydrate so important when you're trying to conceive? Now basically, if you imagine, right, so it actually carbohydrate consumption linked with your insulin hormone. If you're someone who suffers from PCOS, which is a women's health condition also known as polycystic ovarian syndrome, or if you're someone who known to have a condition called insulin resistance, or someone who simply need to lose some weight before getting pregnant, carbohydrate is incredibly one of the top nutrients. You want to pay more attention to it. The reason why is because the more carbohydrates you have, your body actually needs to release more insulin, right, to help you to absorb and process the amount of carbs you consume from your food. The problem here is, the more your body releases the insulin hormone, the higher it is. It may actually impact your fertility hormone imbalance. It might also affect the ovulation cycle as well. So in treating, say, again, that comes down to individual scenario. So in a general terms of advice, number 1, we definitely have to look at the quality of carbs you are consuming. So in saying that, we need to actually, first step is to eliminate the unhealthy carbs. So this is actually something that I talked about last week episode. Again, if you haven't seen last week episode, please watch the replay after today's live show. So first step, you want to eliminate food or drink that is highly contain refined sugar or added sugar, such as any highly processed fruit juice, or sugar containing soft drink, lollies, cakes, ice creams, or any biscuit that has a lot of processed sugars in there. So these are known as the unhealthy type of carbs or sugars, but you still want to have some form of healthy carbs in your diet. So what is healthy carbs? So healthy carbs is also known as the low GI food choices, which it's also a form of a type of food that it can be more stabilize your sugars, so without spiking up your blood sugar level very quickly. So some of the example of a healthy carbs include whole grain bread, or certain fruits, or beans and legumes, basmati brown rice, or even milk as well. So you want to make sure that your diet right now is to swap with this form of healthy carbs. So that's step number 1. And number 2, under the carbs, you want to review your portion. And this is one of the very, very frequently and most popular questions asked from my clients as well. So in terms of portion, it comes down again, your goal, your medical condition, for example, or whether or not you try to gain weight, maintain your weight, or even if you try to lose weight, everybody, the portion of carbs consumption will be different. So before you jump into a very low carbs diet or low carbs diet, I would strongly recommend you to speak to a specialized dietitian in this area. The dietitians, including myself, will help you to work it out exactly how much carbs is ideal for you based on your individual needs. Okay? Now, lastly is also the timing. So a lot of people also ask me, oh, Catherine, what time should I have my carbs? Can I have my carbs at night, or should I avoid it? Should I just, not to have any carbs during the day and have it at night? So my number one rules is try to have even distributions of carbs during the day. Okay, the reason why is because definitely the last thing that you want to do is try to skip all the meal, not having any carbs, but all of a sudden you kind of shock your body with a huge amount of carbs. That is not ideal, because why? Your body suddenly will need to increase the release of insulin at that particular meal. So what is ideal is it will be best to kind of even up your carbs consumption based on your individual portion, the daily portion. And you want to make sure that you also set a limit, shorten your eating hours, and try not to eat too much at night. And if you just recall, for example, food that you usually crave while you're watching Netflix or after dinner, I can guarantee you it's definitely not something healthy. It's definitely something sweet and loaded with a lot of sugar, or might be fat as well. So you want to set yourself a limit from what time you start your meal, and also what time you finish your dinner. And again, you want to relook your lifestyle again. If you're someone who often sleep late, you might also want to try to get into the habits of getting to the bed earlier, because that all will help you to better manage your hunger while you are trying to improve your diet, while you are following some sort of meal plan, and just try to eat better and feel better as well. Okay, so that just comes down to the carbs, so number one. Now, number two we're going to talk about is protein. So definitely optimizing protein is essential as well when you are trying to conceive. So basically the reason why is protein, your body needs protein on a daily basis to make new hormones. So if your body doesn't get enough of protein, your body will start to break down muscle mass, so lean muscle mass, to actually cope with the extra protein needs, right? So if you are someone who is, for example, follow some sort of diet plan at the moment, try to lose weight while improve your diet, while trying to maximize the chances of conceiving, again, it's so crucial that you want to get it right. You want to get the portions of your carbs right, as well as your protein as well, right? So the problem is, if you're not careful about it, you might be losing more muscle mass, and hence you might slow down your metabolic rate, and it might also kind of will stop the progress of you losing weight, for example, and slowly you might gain weight much more quicker. Okay, so the key thing in here is, again, based on your individual requirements. So what is the ideal protein consumption here? So what is called the healthy protein? You want to definitely include choosing lean type of meat, including say red meat or chickens or even fish. Ideally though, we want to adopt some sort of Mediterranean eating patterns, so by making sure that you are having at least say 2 or 3 times of oily fish such as salmon, tuna, that will be great in your diet, and try to limit processed meat or red meat consumption. And number 2, under the protein session, you can also, say for example, include good quality protein source from milk and dairy products. Again, in the right portion. We are not talking about excessive amount of dairy consumption here, or even nuts. Eggs or beans and legumes are also good plant-based alternative as well. Okay, so these are definitely the second nutrient that we need to pay a little bit more attention while you are trying to conceive. Now, lastly, we're going to talk about is the fat. Okay, so in terms of fat, right now, fat is actually incredibly essential. Why? Because the body actually uses the fat in the productions of hormone. So quite often we talk about, okay, your doctors might suggest you to lose some weight before while you're trying to get pregnant. In fact, for some of you here who are actually underweight, which is not ideal as well. So, because if you have too little amount of body fat, it can actually also inhibit your body's ability to conceive. So, what we talk about here is we want to achieve the ideal body fat level to try to help you to maximize your chances of conceiving. So if you miss out, last week's episode where I talk about what type of fat to avoid, so please go back to watch the replay on our Facebook page where I talk about the unhealthy fat that you need to avoid, which is also known as the saturated and trans fat. Now, for the fat, what is called a healthy fat here? So healthy fat, it's mainly predominantly coming from fish, nuts, and also olive oils or certain seeds as well. So they are incredibly healthy and contain high level omega-3, which is also ideal while you're trying to conceive, to try to lower your inflammation risk and also help you to maintain a good level of omega-3 in your body in preparation for your pregnancy needs. So these are certainly the 3 nutrients that you wanna, again, have a look at your diet right now and see whether you have eliminated the food that is not ideal, and also you want to try to introduce the good stuff back into your diet so your body feels nourished, you feel better, and we can help you to further maximize the chances of conceiving. Alright there, so just to recap, so today's session, so we talk about what type of carbs, the timing of carbs, the portions of carbs. We talk about this. Secondly, we talk about protein, and lastly is the healthy type of fats. I would strongly recommend you, if you are someone who really felt like, oh, I have no idea how to get started, this just seems all too confusing, I have 2 solutions for you. So first step is download our fertility diet challenge. So you can go to our website at katrinchong.com.au/fertility diet challenge, where you'll see the challenge information, and it's really easy. You just need to put your name and your email, and we will help you to get started right away. Secondly, you can also book in a 15 minutes free nutrition assessment call with me as well, where I can assess you a little bit better based on your individual needs and advise you what is the proper step to take to help you to move forward. So you always got my support there. So don't you worry if everything sounds like too confusing to you right now. The first step is just try to get on top. Have a look at what you need to avoid, and secondly, how can you improve your diet better, and drop me a message or DM me if you need help. Okay, now I also forgot to mention, if you're interested to sign up for the free nutrition assessment call, you can right now go to my website under book a consult. That's where you can book an appointment with me now. Okay, so just before I go, a few more things, and again, don't forget if you're someone who are already actively trying to conceive, don't forget about folate. It's incredibly important, so make sure you start taking your folic acid supplement at least 1 month before conceiving, and your diet should also contain enough of folate, so which is a group of B vitamins, usually coming from green leafy vegetables and certain type of fruits, and also there's other nutrients that's important as well, including iodine, which is another very important pregnancy nutrient that's especially usually coming from fish and seafood, and lastly is the omega-3 that we just talked about. Okay, so these are the, I guess, that the information that you need to know to get started. But again, I always tell my patients, everybody is different. What I plan the meal for you might be different for someone else. So the key is you wanna get started, but individualized is the key here. So again, if you are someone who's struggling right now, get on top, get in touch with me right now by signing up our 15 minutes free nutrition assessment call, and then we can take the conversation a little bit further there. Alright then, so if you don't have any more questions, I may just leave you to it. But anyway, if you, after you watch today's episode, and if you have more questions, feel free to DM me, drop me an email, or leave a comment down below. Otherwise, I will see you again next week. Bye everyone, have a good week.